They say that life is a journey, and I've walked my journey by interacting with different experiences and situations that affect children and young people, especially the girl children. The different situations I have experienced have caused me to ask myself questions. And outstanding among these questions today is the amount of violence that the children are facing in our communities. I'll tell you about Nakolong Rosetta. Rosetta is a 19 years young woman that I met during my work as a social worker. When I interacted with her, I learned that Rosetta comes from a family, a polygamous family of 5 wives, including her mother, who unfortunately passed on. At that point, my responsibility was returning Rosetta back home and settle her again with her family. And this was because she had been found pregnant at school. And the practice in Uganda is that if you're found pregnant at school, you are expelled or dismissed from school. And so she had been dismissed. I also found that Rosetta comes from Moroto district that is located in Karamoja sub-region in the far northeast of Uganda, a distance of 500 kilometers away from Kampala city. All went well. Our journey went well until we got to Moroto. It is normally a whole day's journey. And when we got to Moroto, remember, she comes from a polygamous family. We agreed to go to the first home of her stepmother, where she normally spends most of her time during her holiday. The mother was excited and happy to see us. Remember, this is a community, a vulnerable community, if I may put it, and you're driving through a community. Perhaps some of them have not seen a vehicle before, and something like that. They were excited to see us, and one thing that her mother asked was why she had come home at this time, yet she was expected to be at school. And when she learned of the reason, that it was because she was pregnant and she had been dismissed, immediately she asked us to go away and told us that she cannot accept Rosetta at her home because her husband will beat her up. It didn't sound new to me because I am a Ugandan and these experiences are there. We decided, she told us to go to the next home of the wife, a distance of 200 meters, and assured us that that is where Rosetta's father was and would speak to him and sort it out. We drove to the next home and unfortunately did not find Rosetta's father. But it was the same story. The mother again dismissed us. And she told us that all she can do for us is call her husband and we speak to him. She went ahead, she called, and she gave me the phone to speak to Rosetta's father. I spoke to him. But what I could hear from the discussion was disappointment from the side of the father, was anger, and all he told me was he does not want to find Rosetta anywhere in his compound. I listened, and he switched off, he hung up. So we discussed with the team I had moved with and agreed that we could try another home. We went to the third home. Again, we were welcomed. We were given chairs, we sat. This is the first home where we are allowed to sit, remember? We sat, we started the discussion. The mother in this third home listened. She looked like she was trying to understand the whole story. And one question she asked me was, does that mean this is the end of her education? I told her it might not be the end, but at the moment, and because of our education system, she cannot be allowed in school when she is pregnant. But later on, after she has given birth and perhaps taken care of her baby, maybe for 6 months or 1 year, there are always opportunities for her to go back to school. Earlier on, we were told that when her father saw the vehicle coming from a distance, he ran away. So the mother went behind the kraal and came back with her husband. He accepted to sit with us into a discussion. We explained what had happened. We counseled them into and over the situation until Rosetta's father accepted her to stay. But some of the comments he made during the discussions were, "What's wrong with my children? Why is it me? My other daughter, who was at the primary teachers' college the other time, also became pregnant. What is happening to my girls? Now Rosetta is into the same thing. What is this?" But we continued to counsel and to speak to him. Some neighbors joined us during the discussions, and at the end of the day, the father accepted Rosetta. Remember, we had gone through a whole day's journey, and this is coming to about 9 p.m. We are still in the community. We live in a society where different forms of violence are used as a means of disciplining and punishing children. But the ways within which this is done has left the children with effects that the children go and grow with sometimes all their lifetime. And I have continued to ask myself, but where is everybody? And what is everybody doing about this situation of violence? Year in and year out, we have watched on TV, and I think the most recent being last night on the national television, where they showed us a small young boy that was being pulled out of a kelon. The father, I don't know for what reason, had put him there, and people were just pulling him out. We have seen the children being burnt. We have seen the children being beaten and bruised. Very bad situations that we have watched on television, that we have read and seen on the different social media groups that are available at the moment. And it is very hurting. It makes me think and feel like we are living in a community where the child protection laws are not considered. And again, I ask myself, where is justice? And who is responsible for administering justice? We watch the stories, we hear about them, but what next? Some of them have been reported and addressed, but the others are still hanging somewhere. It feels like it's nobody's responsibility, except a few social workers like me that come out and speak about them and talk about them. The Ministry of Education and UNICEF 2012 report indicated that a survey administered on primary school and secondary school children showed that 70% of these children have at least experienced one form of violence. A related report that has been carried out this year by the Forum for African Women Educationalists has put the rate at 81% in the districts of Kasese, Bundibujo, and Toroko. And so what are we doing about it again? The figures are going high. There is violence everywhere. The environment feels violent. There is violence in the homes. There is violence in schools. There is violence in the communities around us. By the streets, even when you're walking or you're driving, you see different forms of violence, even by the streets. I'll give you another story of Nalongo Hasifa, a recent occurrence again. On the 18th of October, Nalongo decided to slaughter her 2 boys, a 2-year-old and 4 years old. from Kamuli district. She went home, slaughtered the 2-year-old, went to school, picked the 4 years, and also slaughtered her. And thereafter, she called her brother and informed her of what she had done. But we have lost lives. We have lost children, young ones. Her husband was not at home at that time. It is reported that he is a taxi driver, but it is also reported that he has another woman somewhere else. Circumstances around this situation, around this murder, are not yet known. But we got to know about these stories through our partners, Plan International Uganda. It is so saddening. And we hope that justice will be administered once that lady is got. And so what I come to say here today is that while there are different efforts that have been put in place to try and ensure that the environment is violent-free, I know very many development partners, government, civil society organizations, the community, some individuals are working out something. But isn't it about time that these different efforts are put together and work together? That the different arms that are responsible, the community, the children themselves, the lawmakers, the policy makers, the government, the development partners, everybody comes together, sits on the table, and talks about these issues of violence. Isn't it about time that different people take up seriously their roles and responsibilities? And just so we are talking about alternative means, especially to disciplining and punishing children. Alternative means that are helping build the characters of the children, that are helping impart skills and behaviors in a more reasonable way than what is being done at the moment that is harmful to the lives of the children, but one that also kills their self-esteem, their self-confidence, and some of them, their lives have also been destroyed. Alternatives that are ensuring that there is a safe environment, that there is prevention and elimination of violence. Isn't it about time that we ourselves all do a self-awareness, that we also change our attitudes and behaviors as far as discipline and punishment is concerned? Can we think about ways, different ways that might come up that are more friendly? I know with Ministry of Education of Uganda, they have introduced corporal alternatives to corporal punishments that are being used at school. Hold a discussion, have a discussion with the child. Explain to them that what they have done is wrong. They could have done it this way. They could have done it the other way. I remember they used to tell us, I would have given you 10 slashes, but because of ABCD, I will give you 2. And the child will learn. It's better than banning them. It's better than making them to carry water and they miss lessons. It's better than making them kneel while holding heavy objects as they also miss lessons. It's about time that these different efforts are put together and we put forward the cause for a violent-free environment. I want to thank you.